this police strip searching of women, it degrades vulnerable women. This made really uncomfortable reading. I didn't know it didn't. Things like, and they weren't even, some of them weren't even arrested.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, there's some horrific issues there. And this is a report that came out. There were 14 cases, and it came out, Dame Vera Baird found that 7 had been unlawfully arrested of 14 cases. She blamed a cultural problem within the force, and this is also Greater Manchester Police. Now, she detailed how strip searches had been used to punish those under arrest, and sometimes very poorly arrested. Strip searching women particularly and leaving them without any underwear, without one woman who was bleeding, leaving her with it makes very difficult reading.
Yeah, so there's a few things going on here. First of all, Dame Vera Baird, formerly Dame Vera Baird QC, an eminent barrister. Actually, bizarrely, we're talking about my mum twice in one episode, but my mum's closest colleague through the 1980s and 1990s, Vera Baird, the defence barrister, originally from Oldham, practiced in London in Michael Mansfield's set, Tooks Courts Chambers, as it used to be, and used to come up to do cases in against Greater Manchester Police for our firm, Mary Monson Solicitors, coincidentally. And that's her experience of that ingrained culture. She talks about an arrogance and a contemptuous attitude towards the public, a kind of sense of we are right and we do what we like. It's kind of that. It's a less corrupt version of that really old school policing, the kind of Red Riding policing, if you ever saw that show. We do what we like and all of that. That I think throughout most of the country, great progress has been made. And the Met always gets it in the neck and all of that. But you can see they've been wrestling with the idea of modernisation. But I have to say, our experience of Greater Manchester Police, even recently, forget all the old Vera Baird days and Mary and all of that. I asked in advance of this program today for a couple of my colleagues to give a couple of anecdotes just of the type of experiences they have, specifically of how the police are treating us, whether they're allowing us access to our client, and how they're treating mentally ill people, for example. And I have to say that sense of power and contempt for people's rights that is described in Vera Baird's report is absolutely apparent in some of these, if you'll indulge me, a couple of these examples. And I had a story told to me of a client who was arrested at 8:30 p.m. at night for a historic allegation of harassment that was a low-level offence that was many months before and common assault. And it was 2 months after the allegation. So just 2 months after the allegation. So not an emergency. And she asked, and we asked, to attend voluntarily. And instead, the police sent round the heavies. But here's the kicker. Our client has cancer. And guess what? The police officer knew she had cancer, and it was the typical old, we do what we want, we do it for our convenience. She now not only is fighting, a potentially mortal disease, but she is completely traumatized as well. A second example, and there are many, I'm sad to say, of a client with serious mental health issues. We were forbidden. He'd asked us to come with him to the police station where he would be charged. And it's normal. The lawyer can go to the custody desk just to support the person. And so they feel that it's going in the proper way. Yes. And you know what? The police officers barred us entry. And I have to say, this happens all the time. They'll say you can go in that room, but you can't escort your client to the custody suite or the custody area. And he had a full-blown anxiety attack, and he collapsed. And guess what? The officer, instead of dealing with his safeguarding needs immediately in the medical situation, proceeded to lecture us about why he was right and we were wrong.